Alright guys, so on this video we're going to go ahead and install the pop bumper bodies onto this Special Force pinball machine. You can see I already got one of them installed. I did that ahead of time just so I can kind of show you what it looks like when it's actually installed and how it's supposed to go back together. And I'll show you how to do one of these, and I'm going to do the last one off camera as well, because I mean there's no point in repeating it. So here's what it looks like when it's completed. Obviously I don't have the cap on it. I'm not worried about putting the caps on until we get the rest of the rubbers and posts put on. Down below the pinball, sorry for all the weird lighting, it's just the best way I can find to get you to see this. So right there you got this little piece that's attached to the plunger. It goes into the actual coil. Whoops. There we go. Sorry about that. Okay, so this little piece here that these pins slide into and get nutted down to. So whenever the coil activates and sucks in, what it's doing is pushing that piece of metal right there down. That's what pops your ball away. And the way that activates is this little tab right here. Okay, so when your ball hits this, there's a tiny little piece on the bottom, like this. And what happens is, when this little plastic tab gets pushed down, this little plastic nipple or tip or whatever you want to call it, contacts, you might not be able to see it very well, let's see if I, right there, this little pan right here, this pan here. So it'll hit this pan, which activates this switch, which then engages the coil, so it'll suck that down and cause the ball to pop away. Okay, and it'll also let the game know that it's happening, so it scores you points. You'll also notice, like on these ones that don't have the pop bumper on, it has these wires here with these female pins. That's because this is a more modern game. It's a mid-80s game, and the pop bumper bodies have these male pins on them that connect to the lamp. Now it depends on the game. Some pinball machines, these lamps are going to always be activated. Some pinball machines, these lamps will only activate if you hit certain switches. And this particular pinball, the lamps will activate every time it hits a pop bumper. So whenever a pop bumper gets engaged, the lights are going to flash with the pop of the bumper. And these are also non-polarized LED lights, meaning it doesn't matter how you hook these pins up. It's going to work either direction. Alright, so now with that being said, I'm going to set you up on the bottom of the playfield. Well, actually, no, I'm not going to do that yet. I want to show you the steps involved here. So, this is the piece that goes inside there. We're going to take these little cap nuts off. So let me take them off real quick. Okay. Now, as you can tell, this piece right here is what we're working with. It's two different pieces. Zoom in, make it easier. This comes right off. You see that spring on there? That's important to have on there because that's what makes this little plastic piece, when the ball hits it, pop back into position. Otherwise it may get stuck down, causing the pop bumper to just keep activating constantly. So this is going to be our very first step. And what we'll do is get this lined up just like so. Yep, like that. Okay. Now you notice the holes that are here. The two smaller holes on the outside, that's where those little pins are going to go through for your little metal piece that snaps the ball away. The other four holes or for your wires going through to connect your lamps. And then here is where the actual pop bumper body is going to screw into. Alright? Don't worry about this being all like flappy and loose around, because it'll actually kind of settle in place once you get the actual whole body down. Alright. So, I'm going to get set up here and show you how to hook up the pop bumper body's lamps, getting these wires hooked up. It's always easier just to kind of pull some of this through so you can make sure you get a good connection, and you can gently pull them the rest of the way through afterwards. But the next step to it is to hook this piece in. And what you're going to do is put it through these two outer holes, which are going to go through a hole here and a hole on the other side. It's not going to go all the way in, because we need to line it up down below with that little piece that it's attached to the plunger link, okay? And once that's lined up and in place, then we can put the nuts on to hold this whole entire assembly in place. Then we can put the physical body itself on. So I'll get you set up down below, and we're going to go ahead and take care of that real quick. So we'll be right back. Okay, so as you can see, the pins are coming through the hole, through the pop bumper holes. Now we need to get them lined up with this hole, and there's a hole on the opposite side too. So we just kind of have to monkey around with it, maneuver it until we get them to pop through those little holes. Sometimes it takes a little bit of doing, so it really depends. Some games are a little easier, depends on how much is around. Came close. There we go. Alright, so now we're in place. Alright, excellent. Now from here, we're just going to hand snug the nuts onto there. I apologize if I hit the camera. It's very tight in here. Yeah, it can be a bit of a trick when you don't have much room. It's a little bit easier when you don't have a camera in your way and you're trying not to hit the camera at the same time. Okay, there's the one. So you just hand snug it. Then we get to the other side. Just remember, you'll have wires and all sorts of stuff in your way, so you gotta be cautious of that too. And there can also be a lot of sharp metal down under here, so be careful. Alright, now they're in place. We can take our nut driver, and then we'll tighten these down. They don't have to be super tight. Just make them, once you feel it tighten up, just kind of give it like a quarter turn after, and it's going to be good. There. As you can see, it's hooked up. So whenever I pull on this plunger, it's going to cause that metal body, or the metal piece, to pop down. I'm sorry, I don't remember the technical name for it. And I'll show you real quick. Let me get my finger up on here. And yes, we did the other pop bumper. I could not get a camera angle on this back one, so this was the best I could do. So whenever the plunger sucks in, that's what happens. Okay, now from here we can actually put the pop bumper body on. So you can pull the wires out a little bit more, just give yourself a little extra. Makes it easier to actually hook it up. And of course this is working as well too. You could probably get a better view. Sort of. See how it's moving that pan? Now once you get everything hooked up, your pop body bumper and all that stuff, you're going to have to make sure to adjust this switch. And there's a few ways to do it. I'm not going to get a good camera angle to show you, so I apologize for that. There's a lot of other videos and photos and stuff of people doing much better angles than I can get inside of here. So let me grab the pop bumper body, and I'll show you how we line that up and get it hooked up. Alright, so we'll be right back, guys. Alright guys, so now we're back, and we're going to go ahead and hook up this pop bumper body. God, I can't talk tonight, I swear. So, like I said before, this is non-polarized, so it doesn't matter if you put your positive or negative on either pole. It's going to be working just fine. So, you just take your little female connector and plug it into your male connector. Make sure it goes all the way in there. Just like so. And just like so. Okay? And you want to carefully get these wires pulled through. You can go through the bottom or wherever. Doesn't matter. As long as you just get these wires pulled through real careful. You want to line up the two holes inside your pop bumper body with these two holes right here where the wires aren't coming through, because that's where the screw is going to attach everything. Sometimes it takes a little bit of finessing. Yep, just like so. I gotta make sure I push that back down because that got popped out of place. That'll happen at times. You just gotta be ready to make adjustments as you go. And that's why it's also helpful to sometimes go below the pinball and grab a hold of the wire and give it a light pull to get it out. Getting close. There we go. That seems pretty good now. Yeah. Alright, we're in place now. I like this system way better than the older systems. The older systems had hard wires that came from the lamp directly through the playfield, and you had to sometimes desolder or cut the wires, and it was a pain in the butt. But this is a much better system in my opinion. Then we're just going to use the two screws and put one on the side and then one on the other side, and that's going to hold that whole body in place. Just got to line the hole up. There we go. Tighten it down. Now again, you're screwing into plastic, so don't over tighten it. It just needs to barely tighten it up. Like once you feel it start to tighten, I wouldn't go any farther than that. There we are. We're all tightened up. That's working just fine. Let me pull on the plunger. That's working fine. Alright. So that's our pop bumper body. Now all you have to do after this is go down below the playfield where I showed you already where the wires are going through, and just move them out of the way of any moving parts. If you keep them in the way, obviously it's going to start wearing on the insulation, and then you're going to soon have problems. So that's how you do a pop bumper body on a Special Force pinball machine. And again, I don't have the ability to really show you how to adjust the switch. I apologize for that. And I'm going to do this other pop bumper right off camera. There's no reason to do it again. It's the same process. So, thanks for tuning in. And like, subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one. Okay, guys? Have a good one.